works with other people in this room? Oh, yeah, right. We do it all the time. You're in a band, you're in an ensemble, you're co-writing a song, you're creating a startup. There's many different ways a group of people can work together. In the entrepreneurial landscape, we have to let people do what they do best, all right? So let's go back to our team. Let's go back to Ted Lasso. I know like 2 things about soccer, but I know that everyone has a role, right? You try out and you're the goalie. Your job, don't let balls pass you and get in the goal, yes? Okay, cool, we get that. Now, if I were to take that same thing and say, all right, we're gonna make a startup, we're gonna create this idea together, but your only thing you can do is press the button on the camera. Amal, you can't say anything, your only job is to make sure this is recorded. Amal's a very bright human, and I know this. And it is helpful to me to say, what do you think? What do you want to bring to the table? Amal, this is Amal, can you wave? Okay, thanks. Okay, sorry. What are you bringing to the table? What strengths does Amal have? Because all of a sudden, I am focusing on Amal and his strengths and not just this one hard skill that he has, right? And if we think about back to my career, yes, I can play marimba really well. Cool. That only matters to like 3% of humans. But I have a lot of other things, and I can bring that to my marimba playing, and I can also expand my marimba playing into other spaces, right? So what I want you to think about is when you bring a group of people together, how can you ignite the collaborative mindset so you make sure everybody in that room is coming with their best ideas, they feel safe, and they feel trusted in that space. You've been in group projects that work, yes. Have you been in group projects that don't work? Yeah, right? So we know when that energy is off, we know when that energy is on. What I can bring to you is to have specific strategy into trying to understand or implementing how that group of people is going to work together. So let me introduce some language to you. On this side, I have language that is affiliated with a team, which is really positive, right? Like a soccer team, a coach, like the hierarchy of putting that team together is super, super powerful. So they kind of have the team framework, but I would say that like the most successful sports teams are also implementing collaborative space, right? Because they are also understanding and being strategic in the moment to know what to do next based on the strengths of each individual player. On the right side, left side, team. On the right side is collaborating. So in a team, we're focused on execute the play versus the collaborative space. The ensemble, the band is saying, we're generating as we go, right? You're creating the tasks, the roles, okay? When to make, you see kind of how we're like talking about checking boxes versus making the check boxes. Following versus exploring and discovering. Doing it correctly, what can be done? If you start asking questions in your group as opposed to directives, imagine what kind of creativity and what kind of solutions, as our friend in the front row talked about earlier, can be made. Focus on outcome and goals versus passion and interests. So oftentimes I do projects and it's with people I love and respect their voices, and then I say, okay, what can we do? Maybe we have a soft idea, but it's about the strengths of that group of people, highlighting those strengths versus what we're kind of trained to do sometimes when we're in this kind of highly intense musical space is to say that's a wrong note, that's out of tune, your rhythm is too, you're going too fast, too slow, etc. We're saying, okay, yeah, you're going to work on that, but what are you doing really well? Okay, let's put that ingredient in. Yeah? Creating specific roles, that's again saying you are the goalie versus utilizing the diverse skill sets and perspectives of that group. That's saying Summer and I are going to get together, we're going to make something. We're like, what are you really good at? You do those things. What am I really good at? I'm going to do those things. Versus saying, Summer, can you fit in this box? Right? And then the hierarchy versus the vision, right? The coach to the players versus we are all going to take leadership roles at different times. We're going to decide that based on the vision and as we move forward. So if you're one of my students, you know I'm a big Beyonce fan, and I will continue to talk about her 2016 release of Lemonade for the next 20 years probably, because I think it is, all of her albums are great examples of empowering the collaborative mindset while also understanding her own identity and also allowing her identity to shift, which is what we're seeing right now with the Renaissance series. But Lemonade made this huge impact in 2016. Does anyone know why? Yeah. Yeah. It was very timely. So narrative-wise, it was power, right? There was a lot of power behind it. But internally, what was really interesting, there were hundreds of collaborators on this album, right? Anyone from like Jack Black to Kendrick Lamar, kind of spanning genre, which we are seeing in her recent series, the Renaissance series as well. But what was really empowering is when you read about the process and when you talked to the collaborators, what Beyonce did was let everyone be who they were. Okay? So you listen to the track with Jack Black, it has kind of guitar chords, has like a rock heavy space, right? You listen to Kendrick Lamar and it's the track with Kendrick Lamar and it is like lyricism and like poetic rap, right? And instead of saying, I'm gonna bring you onto the album to do this, can you just, play guitar on this? It's like, Jack Black, you come and you do what you do. Yeah.
It's Jack White, right? Not Jack Black.
So who did I say?
Jack Black. I'm thinking I would love to hear that because he's a funny guy.
Who am I talking about?
Jack White.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Sorry. No, please do. This is, full disclosure, my 2-year-old was up from 1:30 to 4:30 a.m. last night. That was my night. So yes, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Yeah, so that's why my words are a little backwards. I'm a really big Beyonce fan. I would read about the Lemonade album. I would also, on Wikipedia, there's a really cool graph of everyone that's participated. So if you kind of go and you kind of look at all the songwriters and contributors and then listen to the tracks, I wish we had 2 hours to do it. We don't. But that's one of your homeworks. I'm going to give you a couple homeworks, so go do that, okay? And then you can be like, oh, she really did say the wrong person. In the entrepreneurial space, this collaborative, open dialogue and kind of space that is messy, this is hard, right? I feel like we're talking about this like, yeah, you just generate the ideas, you work with these people that you really trust, Beyonce, let everyone be. As I talk about it, it sounds easy. It is challenging, right? And then, you were also saying interpersonal relationships are challenging, right? But Bell Labs, kind of in the mid-20th century existed, was kind of a catalyst of creating some of the massive inventions, the transistor, like things that literally, like, where's my cell phone? Here, make this happen, occurred in the mid-20th century, a critical mass of talented people to foster a busy exchange of ideas, founded by Michael Kelly. Quite intentionally, Bell Labs housed thinkers and doers under one roof, purposely mixed together under the Transistor Project, where physicists, metallurgists, and electrical engineers side by side were specialists in theory, experimentation, and manufacturing. Like an able concert hall conductor, he sought a harmony and sometimes a tension between scientific disciplines, between researchers and developers, and soloists and groups. So this is the first time we're seeing this open door policy in a massive engineering firm in which there weren't pockets of departments, right? And these massive inventions came out of Bell Labs that have changed our world because of the messiness and the willingness to say, all right, we're not just doing research and then fabrication. Those individuals are going to talk to each other at every stage, right? It's messier, it's harder, sometimes longer. But the end is something that can give us, again, these kind of life-altering inventions. I have implemented the collaborative mindset. So when I create my projects, I really do try to think about how is this team going to come together? And sometimes I do say, I'm writing some music, I need some folks. It's really kind of about the vision and kind of bringing the right energy in. And then sometimes I have to completely wipe my identity to bring people together. I had an idea in 2019 about talking about gender bias using AI and using kind of music, poetry, and tactile art. And I had no idea what it was going to be, but I said, we need to start talking about lived experiences in ways that make people feel comfortable in a group. I imagine it as some sort of exhibition. I applied for some grant funding and received it, luckily without a true vision, just saying I want to bring people together to do this. And I ended up finding Sofia Herrera, Martha Reddick, and Umaleni Malaba Adebo, who are artists here in Boston. And what we did, and it took hours and days and weeks, is sat down and said, here we have a kernel of an idea. Kernel of idea. We have lived experience as female identifying individuals in this landscape. We have at this time, this was pre-open AI, we have what we know as artificial intelligence. Let's talk about lived experiences using these tools. And what we came up with was this immersive installation and exhibition that has been shown all over New England. And what we had to do, though, and it was challenging, even though it was my idea, I had to wipe away all ownership of that idea, okay? Think about that. And you have to make that decision if this is a direction where you want to go, where I had to say the narrative of this project and this idea that has become its kind of like offset of a business from my business, right? It kind of lives in its own pillar. I had to say the fact that it was my idea doesn't matter, okay? Now there are other ideas I have where I say, this is mine, I'm gonna kind of move this forward, I'm gonna establish the collaborative mindset to let everyone be their best, but I still want to be Maria Finkelmeyer, etc. This project is like, no, we wiped identity, and it really helps the project, right? Because it's actually uplifted all 4 of us to pitch it out there, to try to get funding, to get it shown, right? To bring their communities in with it. So challenge yourself with that next time. Or think about that, you know, I have this idea, where is my ownership? Where does it lie? What, on that scale, right? Where is it gonna land? And make that decision. I'm not saying every project has to be a wipe of your identity and like a coalition of these people, but it's really powerful to make that decision early and then make it verbalized with a group of people. All right, cool, get out there, work together.